Right, sup there, guys? Just some ordinary dude here, and welcome to another installation of my podcast series. I still need to come up with a new name, but whatever, we'll figure that in time. So today is kind of special because I've not got just one co-host or even two, but I've got three co-hosts today. We've got Fictional Media Bully, Adossa as always. How are you?
Stop it!
Yeah. And we've got Alana Mari. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good.
And we've also got Gilbert Gan. How are you?
You're here doing good here.
That's good. So today, the four of us are going to discuss a character that I think we all hold in quite high regard. The oldest of the Loud siblings, Laurie Loud. Now, naturally, she's a character who started off in a very flawed, to say the least, in terms of like how she was portrayed. A lot of people I don't think liked her back in like season one or anything, but obviously she's one of the characters who's had the most improvement and the most character growth over the course of the last 7 and a bit seasons. So today we're going to talk about it. Does anybody want to start this one off? Anyone got anything they really like to say about Laurie's character?
How about you,
Start with it. Yeah, Alana.
Well, wait, me?
Yeah, she's your favourite, you might as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I think she's my favorite character, I'd say, and I think the reason why mainly is because I feel like she got the best development out of any of the characters, especially in, like, season 4.
Yeah.
I feel like before she was, more one-dimensional and kind of, like, bossy more, and then, like, later on she became a bit more mature and a bit nicer.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, yeah, with Laurie's character, it's no secret that in the first season, while she did have some levels of character growth, a lot of the time she would just be your stereotypical sort of mean, bossy, kind of harsh, sort of a teenage sister who was always on her phone and obsessed over her boyfriend. And obviously, a lot of the time, she wouldn't be particularly complex or even that particularly likable. A lot of people thought she was a bit of a bitch in the earlier seasons. But to be fair, over the course of the season, she has improved a lot. Now, I would say season 1 was obviously when she was at her worst because, well, the show only just started. And a lot of the episodes did focus on making the sisters antagonists. But in Laurie's case, I think she started getting a bit more development around season 2, although it wasn't that consistent because we had episodes like Change of Heart, which of course were not very good. But she did at this point start getting a bit more depth. She started mellowing out a little bit more. The whole like bossy big sister trope started to fizzle out a bit. And that was pretty good. And then I'd say it was around seasons 3 and 4 where she really started to come into her own as a character.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
What about you, Gilbert? What do you think of Laurie?
Well, I always think Laurie is a good character, despite her first season mean side.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the thing is with an episode, even in season 1, she did have some growth. Like in what was it? The episode that Fictional. Sorry, what?
Character development.
Yeah. So in some episodes, like what was it? No Guts, No Glory. I mean, okay. To be fair, that wasn't so much. That wasn't so much.
Glory.
I mean, that was a really fun episode actually. But obviously, that was Laurie at her like most bossiest and meanest. Like she was a drill sergeant literally at the first scene of the episode. So of course in that one, well, I suppose it's not so much she gets development, or she does a little bit at the end. But I suppose the development there was for Lincoln realising that actually sometimes, because of how chaotic his sibling body is, that maybe Laurie was necessary for a time. because she kept them in check. I mean, we know that the parents, Lynn Senior and Rita, they're very sort of free range parents. They just sort of let the kids get on with it and sort it out for themselves. That was certainly in the earlier seasons. So Laurie just sort of took it on herself to take control of the rest of the group. And they sort of realised why, because if you get rid of Laurie, hell breaks loose in the house.
No Guts, No Glory is probably the first genuinely good episode of The Loud House.
Possibly. I don't know, there are a few really good ones. For a series premiere, despite having some really dated primitive animation and stuff, Left in the Dark is actually a pretty strong episode for me.
Left in the Dark
Yeah,
was
I do
good.
kind of like that one.
Yeah.
Left in the Dark was good. I think I remember you saying it was
fine. First step was actually fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alana, I think you said Left in the Dark was one of your favorites.
Yeah, like even though the animation's not the best, like it doesn't matter. I feel like the story was still entertaining. So
Yeah.
Actually, the animation is mostly fine. I just take issue with how rough the visuals are, even though it does make up for it with some beautiful minimalistic shots that remind me of 50s UPA cartoons. You know those shots where it's like you have a character at the door and like a downwards angle, like to indicate that it's going down the stairs or whatever. The basement.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I remember that.
Right.
It's like those are some surprisingly beautiful shots, even though it's really just two colors, black and something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but then after that, temporarily you had Get the Message, which is an entertaining episode, but has some issues in its script, and of course, Laurie did not set a good first impression in that one.
No. But yeah, obviously, like if we're going from like the early seasons, I say around season 2 was when she started to develop and grow as a character.
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Save the Date really broke the camel's back for some people back then.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at Save the Date, it was an episode that was actually a fan favourite at the time, but I think it's aged very, very, very badly in the eyes of many people, because it's just, when you actually look at it, it's basically Lincoln kind of rightfully calling out his bully and not even doing it on purpose. He just happened to overhear some harsh comments. And then Laurie gets all angry and starts threatening him because, just coincidentally, her boyfriend and Lincoln's bully happen to be related, of course. What an unbelievable coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a major plot contrivance, and it's like the thing about Laurie in that episode when she's like being very threatening towards Lincoln just because of something that Lincoln had no control over because he genuinely did not know this stuff.
No.
Reminds me of my middle brother.
Yeah. For context, guys, FMB's middle brother is an absolute dick. I have actually sort of heard the guy talking. Yeah, he's a real cunt. But yeah.
And he's a Muslim, so there you go.
I don't know that.
It's like, you know what? It's like, you know what? With Laurie's behavior in season 1, I wouldn't be surprised if she did have some following in Islam. But of course, it's a kids' cartoon, so you can't really delve into religion much.
I mean, it's one of those things like, yeah, I mean, with something like The Loud House, you can't really go into that sort of subject matter.
Fortunately, Lana is with the Christians, like Alana. I hate religion, but there you go. But yeah, it's like, Save the Day is like, wow, this has aged just as well as the first Crash Bandicoot.
Most people still like the first Crash Bandicoot, even if it has flaws.
Oh man, I just love the dunk of that game.
Yeah, I know. The entire PlayStation community hates this guy, by the way.
Oh, no. They despise me.
Yeah, of course they do. But yeah, so season 2, Change of Heart aside, was really when it started to... Well, Change of Heart and Brawl in the Family and No Such Luck aside, was when they really started to change the character, I think. And just because they toned down how mean-spirited and bossy she was. Mainly because I think it's just because of the fact that the show changed its focus from Lincoln being outnumbered by all his siblings in some way to the show starting to focus on the sisters as individuals. And so that aspect just naturally, I think, got downplayed. And change of heart aside, from late season 2 onwards, I'd say they started really improving Laurie as a character. Um, she started mellowing out. She started getting a bit nicer.
Party Down is one of my favorite episodes of The Loud House. It really is. Alana, Party
Oh yeah,
Down.
that is a good one. Yeah, I forgot
Because
about that actually.
you have a story of Laurie wanting to put on a sophisticated party, and you get some good jokes and some witty writing. Especially when Lenny takes a picture of Laurie, like in a pose, and she's like, "Wow, you look so constipated, sophisticated."
Okay, yeah, that was funny.
Right.
The constipated line, it's just as good as Lynn Jr.'s "I'm noticing a complete lack of balls in this room" line.
Yeah.
It's like that's like what two adult jokes the Loud House successfully implemented in its early seasons. I don't even know if there were any other innuendos earlier on. It'd be hard to recognize them, honestly.
I remember
But yeah,
there being a lot actually.
Well, sorry, I don't notice. Okay, cool innuendos, but please focus on good storytelling, please.
Yeah, well, there is that.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously.
But yeah, what I love about Party Down is like she puts on a sophisticated party. I'm bringing up my hands here, like doing the quote unquote thing.
Yeah.
But it's like you watch the episode and you see that her party is a bust because it's like very boring. It's like Lenny's original boyfriend even says, I don't need a vision to know I'm bored. Awesome party, Laurie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in like the last few minutes, Laurie realizes that she's in the wrong and the party should be exciting. It's like even the parents are very supportive of that. It's like man, Laurie, for a 17-year-old, you sure are still very young. Even when I was 17 years old, I was getting sick of those types of parties, the exciting ones.
Yeah.
So really, I'm a boring person in life sometimes.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, it was around, I think, season 3 where she really started to come into her own. So obviously you have episodes like Selfie Improvement, which is a really good episode for Laurie.
Selfie Improvement!
Oh, that one's really good.
And of course,
I swear on my... Oh, I forgot the line.
Yeah, it's like a big Dragon Ball anime reference where she's just like a badass action pose. But basically the whole episode is her trying to outdo Carol Pingree, only for you to realise that Carol Pingree wasn't really that much of a rival to her all along. And Laurie realises, yeah, this rivalry's kind of in my head, and they become friends and just sort of move on from it.
I just love self-improvement. It's such a well-directed, fast-paced episode, and Laurie's anime poses is just so great. I swear on my senior parking space, my next selfie will get more likes than Carol Pingree.
Yeah. But then, of course, you get other episodes like Fandom Pains, which, okay, she's more of a supporting character in that, but naturally, this is where you start to see, oh, she's actually bonding with her younger sisters and being all nice and stuff with them. Which is something you didn't really see that much of in season 1, because she spent a lot of season 1 being very commanding. But in this season, you're like, okay, she's just another one of the sisters. She's not acting like she's the oldest and in charge and superior anymore. You know, she's just one of the girls, and you know, she's just having a good time with them, and she's being a lot nicer. And it's
she was also a good supporting role in Sitting Bull. And not to mention had some good lines like, "Oh, they were literally a nightmare."
Yeah. So again, and also in episodes, even where she had a small role, like in Shop Girl, where you know she's helping Lenny to be a bit more assertive or aggressive. But you know, even in an episode like that, where you'd expect her to get tough with her sisters, she's not particularly. And then obviously there's Gown and Out straight after, where she's like helping out Lola with her pageanting stuff.
It's funny, actually. Now you mention both Shop Girl and Gown and Out. Alana, isn't it funny that Lola, a 6-year-old or 7 now, can take down like a young adult like Laurie.
Oh gosh, it's hilarious actually. That scene was really funny though.
It's a Shop Girl is so great. But Gallon Out is also brilliant. That's a Lola and Laurie episode, and it's I think I remember that being one of my favorites at the time. Still is now. It's
Yeah.
such a sweet, fun, likable cartoon.
Yeah.
The animation is a bit in places, but the story makes up for it,
Yeah.
more than makes up for it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And then obviously they continue to have Laurie in a more sort of nice supporting role later on in the season, like in the episode Racing Hearts, where she's being very supportive of Luna and her dilemma with Sam, and giving us some very helpful, friendly advice on how to get closer to her. And of course, you've also got what's the episode? Now this sounds like probably not the best example, but because it's not an episode I particularly like that much. But The Loudest Thanksgiving, I have a ton of problems with this story, but one thing I will say is like it obviously does present Laurie in a very good light, because her and Bobby are actually the two most reasonable people in that episode, and you wouldn't have never expected that back in season 1, where she's so, she was the way she was back then. But in this episode, yeah.
I get the impression The Loudest Thanksgiving is written that way to force a contrast.
Yeah. Again, it's not the best example because The Loudest Thanksgiving doesn't really do the best job with working with the narrative it has.
It's
but
easily the worst special in the Loud Houses franchise.
But I will say, at the very least, it does present Laurie in a good light.
Yeah, Laurie was easily Laurie and Boo Boo Bear were certainly the best part.
Yeah, because they're just like, wow, you lot are they're basically the straight men in the situation, and like, you lot are all acting insane, for fuck's sake.
I'm sorry to go back to season 2 quickly, but like Laurie does get some very good lines even in the early seasons, like in Ellis for Love, where she's typing like very nice emojis to Bobby, but then finds out the letter is not directed to her, and she's like, "I'm sending some different emojis."
Uh-oh.
It's like, Laurie, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, we know exactly what those emojis were. Yeah. But, yeah, so now we get to season 4, and that was the one you said was where she really got all the character development, Alana. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, would you like to sort of elaborate on Laurie in season 4?
Who?
Well, she got a lot of good episodes. I remember, like, Senior Moment and, like, Coop Dreams. And
oh, yeah, Coop Dreams was a really, really good finale.
Those two were my favorite of that season.
Like, season 4 is easily Laurie's best season, honestly. She really got the best episodes in that one. Like, you don't just have Senior Moment and Coupe Dreams, you also have Can't Hardly Wait, which is really the one that I'm gonna go into a bit of detail here, because when I look back at seasons 1, some of 2, and a bit of 3, Laurie's persona was more the bossy and obsessive type. Yeah, she did mellow out gradually with each season, but she was still a stereotype for the most part. Like, she was kind of like, she was best when she had 1 or 2 episodes and like some supporting roles here and there. But then you get to season 4 where she does become a 3-dimensional character. Like, Can't Hardly Wait really shows what Laurie is. Like, she's very well-meaning. She has good intentions, but is also pretty clumsy, jumps the gun here and there, doesn't like read the room sometimes. So she kind of has a bit of a forgetful persona. It's not like Lenny, where Lenny is like taking things very literally or something. It's more like Laurie's kind of like always missing the details when trying to do certain things, and it ends up backfiring in some way or another.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a part of the character that was not explored in previous seasons, and it's kind of like one of the examples of the writing continuing to improve and mature as the program went along.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fair
like
enough.
Can't Hardly Wait is just such a good like, it's the first co-directing role for Jessica Borowski, and it's like, yep, she has potential.
Yeah. But of course, I suppose it makes sense, because obviously season 4 well, now that we've recently had a development in season 8, this matters less. But obviously, season 4 was the last season to have Laurie as a sort of like a regular living in the Loud House, because after season 4 ends with Coupe Dreams, which is all about her preparing for her time at Fairway University. What do you know? The season 5 time skip happens, and Laurie goes to Fairway University. And from that point on, you could argue, well, Laurie's not in the show as much anymore from the next 3 seasons, but what you do get, I suppose, is a quality over quantity approach. So in season 1, she's there all the time, one of the most heavily featured siblings. Season 2 also gave her a lot of focal episodes, now I think about it, but they weren't always that good. Now, whenever Laurie does show up, you're almost certainly guaranteed to get a very good appearance out of her.
Oh my gosh! You know what? Now that you've mentioned season 2 again, it's like I forgot about GarageBand. GarageBand.
Yeah, that was another good one.
Okay, yeah, that one was actually really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did try to stay to have her own room in that episode.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned GarageBand, and I'm probably going to jump ahead a bit here. How many of you seen the season 8 premiere?
I did.
The Homeward Bound.
I haven't seen it, but I have seen a clip or two, and it's like
basically,
okay.
Look, you've had months,
Look,
so
Laurie,
I'm just going to say it.
Laurie was in a leap year, and she tried to find a place to stay, but in the end, she actually stayed at Mr. Grass's garage.
Yeah, so she's now living in her neighbour's garage, which makes sense in a way, because you could argue, if you really want to stretch it, GarageBand all the way back in season 2 built up to this, where Laurie comes back from Fairway at the beginning of season 8 and now lives in a garage.
It's kind of funny how that happened.
It sounds like a fun episode. I'll definitely.
Basically, the loud sisters try to sabotage like her getting new places because they don't want her to go away again or something, and they wanted her to stay at the house. And in the end, they sort of have a compromise where she says, "Look, I need my own space, but I'm right next to you. I'm at Mr. Grouse's basically." And basically, she's got her own garage just like she did in that season 2 episode. So you could argue GarageBand all the way back in season 2 built up to that, but there you go.
Oh yeah, I just see the image Gilbert just sent me. Like what?
Oh yeah, where she screams at her when she finds out what they did. Yeah, that was quite funny. But that's a sign of how much she has actually grown though over the seasons.
That's like the one time Laurie getting angry towards her sisters is really justified.
Yeah, it's really justified. It's like, here's the thing. Even then, she doesn't like really assault any of them. Like in season 1, she would have threatened to pulverize them and probably would have done. In season 8, she's understandably angry, but even then, she's like far more reasonable, and she's just generally a much nicer person. Season 1 Laurie would have absolutely lost her shit over this.
I wouldn't be surprised as the Loud House goes on that Laurie exaggerates more and more into a doormat type.
Possibly, because, and it's an interesting story if they decide to do this. But obviously, for a while now, Laurie hasn't been the authoritative older sister she used to be, and maybe one day when Lenny's away at work and Lindsay and Rita have gone away, they say, "Laurie, can you look after the younger ones like you used to?" And she just can't do it anymore. Like, I can't control them anymore. I'm not the tough girl I once was. And
that would be funny.
That could potentially happen.
Have you ever seen that part with the Force of Habits?
Yeah, season 7's Force of Habits. Yeah, where they all point out each other's weird flaws and habits that they have that they find annoying, and the Loud sisters do get a little bit bitchy in that one, but there you go.
Force of Habits is so weird, like how it's like Laurie's, like it's like, wow, it took them a long time to point out how much Laurie says the word literally.
Yeah.
You could tell from her own boyfriend.
It's just very. What did you say, Gilbert? Something about boyfriend?
Yeah, you can. Bobby even pointed out to Laurie about how many times she often says literally.
Yeah, and
It's
it's
pretty
like, yeah,
funny.
if her own boyfriend's pointing it out, then yeah, there's got to be something wrong. And that's another thing, because obviously, if you actually look at the season 1 relationship of Laurie and Bobby, it's a little bit toxic,
And
especially
Laurie
from
being
Laurie's part.
dramatic.
Like, Laurie was completely obsessive over Bobby. Like, he was literally her whole world in season 1, where, you know, she's constantly on the
The
phone
fact
to
that
him,
Laurie
constantly
got
gushing
over
over him.
dramatic.
Yeah. And it's like, in season 1, Lincoln says bad
I mean,
things about
for God's
Ronnie
sake,
Ann, and that
would have.
causes. Sorry, what?
I mean, for God's sake, she would have crushed Lincoln with that one furniture out
Yeah.
of anger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's like Laurie thought Bobby was her whole world back in season 1. Now, they still obviously have a great affection for each other,
Why?
but, you know, it's a more normal, natural relationship. They're not constant. It's not like they're obsessing over each other. Sometimes they can get a bit angry at each other. Sometimes, you know, they behave more like normal people now. They have a normal, loving relationship, whereas before it was like Laurie had this extreme infatuation over the guy, and it just
Yeah, it's more healthy now.
it just came across as a very ingenuine relationship.
Just looking at the image, Gilbert said, "Oh yeah, Laurie picked up a drawer to throw at Lincoln."
Yeah, that could have probably
that
killed
end
him.
table.
Yeah,
It's like that. See, that moment comes right after, like, Laurie says to Lincoln, "Actions speak louder than words," and she just demonstrated that in a few seconds.
yeah,
I'd rather lick the bathroom. Ah, okay.
yeah.
With the
There is
better
that.
word and kiss her.
Oh, brilliant! Does anyone remember the? This is one of the worst things.
Clyde and Lincoln.
This is one of the worst
remember?
things the Loud House did in its early seasons, like the whole Clyde and Laurie dynamic.
Yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. That was really bad. That was obviously a Chris Savino influence, but there you go.
Yeah, he who shan't be named.
What are we saying? Chris Savino's now the Voldemort of the Loud House.
I'm
Well,
surprised.
I think
I'm sur-
I think we should just go with he who shan't be named.
Yeah, that's what they
Uh.
call Voldemort.
I mean, Chris Savino is a horrible person, so we shouldn't really refer to him by name anymore.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
the problem is you can't really not ever mention his name because he is the creator of the show. What the actual series did, if you notice, in the title cards, they faded. His name's still there when the Loud House title comes up at the end of the opening sequence, but they
Yeah.
discoloured it and made it like not stand out as much.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, yeah, we still acknowledge he created it, but he's gone now, so that's good. And
Yeah.
another photo Gilbert showed. Oh yeah, that's right. Laurie's flatulence issues.
Yeah, one of
And
those
that's something.
running
And
gags
that's
about
also
her.
something else that hasn't really been played up with as much in the later seasons. Like if you think about it, apart from a mention in No Time to Spy, she hasn't really done that since season 3. Thinking about it,
Yeah,
Like,
I noticed that. That's kind of weird.
It's like season 3. There was like what the episode Tripped, and
yeah,
Laurie's
where
caused
that
the
picture
conflict.
comes from.
Yeah.
You just showed.
Yeah, that was from Trip.
It's like, wow, the fart is so nasty that everyone was suffocating inside.
Yeah.
It's like a be strong,
Speaking
kid. No windows.
Yeah. Speaking of change of heart. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Laurie and Lenny, like Lenny disguised as Laurie, and it's like system overload.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Laurie's paranoia in one instance?
Laurie's paranoia.
Yeah, from the
Oh, Ghosted. That's a brilliant
Oh yeah.
episode.
So yeah, that's
yeah.
that's season 5. So that after she sort of leaves in school, that's sort of the next time we see her. And obviously she gets help from her siblings and Clyde because she thinks there's a ghost that's haunting her. Yeah.
season Ghosted is pretty much the episode to have sort of retconned Laurie and Clyde's relationship, because like Laurie is like, even though from a continuity standpoint it doesn't make that much sense.
That was kind of weird, actually.
Oh shit.
It's like
Yeah.
shouldn't it be she's calling Lincoln and Clyde proves himself like in front of Laurie? It's like if you just swap the roles between Lincoln and Clyde, like who Laurie's engaging with, like then it would be a slightly smoother experience. Like Ghosted is still a brilliant
Shit.
episode. It's very witty. It's well
Yeah.
written. It has brilliant animation. It even got someone into the program.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
It's one of the reasons why I feel like if you're gonna get into the Loud House at any point, it should be like in the middle of its run. Like at the beginning of its run, you're gonna be too nostalgia blinded to see the flaws of the early seasons. If you enter too late, you could be too nostalgia blind for the later seasons. The middle is like a good balance where it's like, yeah, I'm seeing both, and they have their pros and cons, but you can probably guess which side I prefer.
That's right.
Man, I'm just thinking about Ghosted. That's such a great episode, but also Laurie Days is brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorite season 5 episodes.
Laurie Days is pretty dang good, even though it has, funnily enough, a visual continuity error. I'm pretty sure you may notice at some point when watching Laurie's Day, when Laurie enters the bathroom to see what Lucy's doing, Lana is literally there, like like helping with like the funeral or whatever, like just being a supportive role. And then in the next scene, like when Laurie goes to check Lincoln, who's like playing his game, Lana is there.
Yeah, that was a strange error.
Yeah.
It's like did Lisa clone her to do like two jobs at once?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, playing a video game is not really a job. It's like, senior moment, best senior year ever. Oh yeah,
So the last time we would see Carol Pingree for a reason.
it's like, oh yeah, it's like, look, what happened to Carol? She was a pretty good supporting character.
Yeah, please. When can we see her again?
Oh dear, dude, are you still there?
Yeah, Nick.
Shit, my connection is fucking gone. Oh.
Oh, good lord.
Oh, that's
Oh
not
my
good.
god. Does that mean the podcast is just randomly cut off or oh my gosh, like a connection wow, it's not Gilbert's fault. It still appears to
That's
be
weird.
recording
That's
still
really
appears to be
Where's
still
the
appears,
BBC technical difficulties music when you need it?
still appears to be recording your conversation. Okay, so looks like dude's gonna have to do a lot of editing like eventually. So where
How's
were
this
we?
gonna work?
Where were we? Laurie Days?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just really love Laurie Days for like how Laurie comes back, but the sisters are a bit preoccupied, and like it seems like things are just not going according to what Laurie wants. But then of course the siblings remind her that this is typical Loud House Day.
Yeah, I really like the ending as well with like
Yeah.
the mud fight, and I thought it was cute.
Such a beautiful
Yeah.
episode as well. And season 6, she had several good episodes. She had some good moments in Time Trap. She had a um, a good moment in. She was pretty good in Great Lakes Freak Out. Like the gag of having to like drive all the way, like front and back, front and back, front and back.
Oh yeah.
Which is it's like, wow, Bobby, you're the slightly inconsiderate one for once. Just saying. Like that must cost a lot of gas.
Yeah, probably.
It's like, Laura, you might need to take some of Lola's money to afford this.
How's this for size?
Oh gosh. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you don't mess with Lori Lou.
Okay, so Dude is asking us
Yeah.
to wrap up our conversation. So
Okay.
So yeah, one last thing I'll say. Actually,
Sure.
getting back a little bit. So it's like she was very obsessive with Bobby in the early seasons, but I'm pretty sure you noticed in season 4, there was only like what 1 or 2 episodes. She even is even just being admiring of Boo Boo Bear, and it's only like a few seconds in each episode or something.
Yeah, it was very, very little compared to the other seasons.
It's
Yeah.
pretty interesting, and also Laurie has some funny moments in the Casa Grande spin-off. What was it? An other
She
mess?
does.
What was it? An other mess? There was a scene where they like
I think it's yeah.
take a picture of each other
Yeah.
to figure out what their baby will be, and it goes
Yeah,
wrong, and
yeah, you can blame Bobby's disaster there.
uh,
Yeah.
so funny. And then there was that sweet moment in I don't exactly remember what the
Tee
episode
off.
was, but I
Tee
don't
off.
remember, huh?
Tee off.
I'm not sure. It was before that. Which one was it called? Where like Bobby and Laurie are on a pizza anniversary day or something, and it doesn't go quite well because
Oh
Bobby's
yeah,
trying
flea
to.
market.
Oh
Oh.
yeah, oh yeah, flea market. Oh yeah, that's like I just really like that one. It's like you kind of get to know more about why they fell in love in the first place. Laurie admires Bobby's passionate qualities.
But what about that? What about that podcast clip of her, which may say sound somewhat inconsistent, if in my opinion.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
The podcast.
the Listen Out Loud podcast.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
like how they met.
Yeah, it was more like Lori fantasizing over it
Yeah.
until Lynn and Luna pointed the truth.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah,
It's just a very like these are just some very like Laurie over time has gotten a lot of good storylines, and it's also I think my now that I really think about it, I think my favorite moment of hers is actually in the Scold season 5 premiere, where
hmm.
it's like near the end, like pretty much when the third act starts, you have a moment like where it's like Laurie is at the Loud House, like pretty much defeated because like temporarily or whatever moving into college is proving to be hell for her. Essentially, it's like all these different golf themed like rooms, like even a room full of sand. It's like all right, the sand floor.
I don't even know how that exists in a single university dorm.
Yeah, and they like got rid of it later. Like the sand floor doesn't show up ever again.
Or the water
Uh,
hazard floor.
it's like what happened to the water hazard floor?
Yeah, what happened
Yeah.
to that?
Just so
Like,
weird.
but yeah, it's like you have those moments and it defeats Laurie, but then Lincoln and friends come back, and Lincoln essentially gives a really nice speech where it's like maybe we should just accept it. Like it's like this is the path life put us on. We just have to like get used to it. So like that. You remember Alana?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really liked that part. That was one of my favorite parts of that episode, actually.
And then it's like the friends leave, and then Laurie is here and has a talk with Lincoln. It's like the moment between Laurie and Lincoln there. It's like you never get that in the early seasons. Actually,
Yeah, never.
you'd never get that. It's very heartwarming. It's very like just a very emotionally engaging moment, and it just shows the character. Like it's funny. School is a very ridiculous premiere, and yet it has one of the most down to earth messages ever.
Yeah. About like
It's
making things work and
it's
stuff.
like life is unfair and unpredictable. Sometimes you just have to make the best of it.
Yeah, that's a great message.
And that's a very important thing to teach kids because it's like, well, life is not going to be easy, like
Yeah.
ever. Like even as a kid, you have to deal with homework. That shit is hard growing up.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it gets harder because there's more things to deal with in life. Like you go to your teenage years, and then you go to your adult years. It's like you have to get a job. It's like, man, this sucks. But that's the economy we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and unfortunately, someone like me is in a very bad era for the United Kingdom at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. But we're not gonna go that far. So I want to ask this question: what do you think Lori's future would be if you're in your own mind? What would be Lori's future in the show?
Laurie's future. Well, I assume she's continuing on Fairway University for a bit. But you know what? I would really like if I would really like say she graduates from college and she probably like the graduation probably allows her to like travel all around the world and doing like golf courses, like especially like in Scotland. That would be a great moment
She
for Laurie
she'd
to interact with Angus.
oh, she'd probably run a golf course down somewhere.
It would be pretty awesome, honestly. Actually, it's like season four. I've mentioned about like season four's Laurie episodes. It's like I kind of forgot about "Don't You Forget About Me." Alana,
Oh,
Oh, that one was good. Yeah.
very very good storyline. It is a very good storyline. It has its issues, like the Lincoln and Ronnie stuff ultimately doesn't serve much purpose, and I guess the third act is a bit rushed, but generally speaking, it is entertaining. Like how Lenny is like dealing with this anxiety of not living with Laurie anymore. It's like something tells me Rita and Lynn Senior might not be good parents if they allowed Laurie and Lenny to grow too attached to each other, or more
you know,
specifically
I
Lenny
guess
growing attached to Laurie.
it's people would say Lori actually had a savior complex.
Savior complex.
Because yeah, you could see that in one episode, I believe, with driving Miss Hazy. I mean, you could tell it in her admission on that episode that she didn't like to lose anyone.
Oh man, it's so weird. Like driving Miss Hazy, Laurie almost killed Lenny. If you really think about it, like
Yeah.
what if Lenny crashed? And
It
then in
was like
season
attempted
four,
murder there.
and then in season four, Lenny kind of like returns the favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not as bad because she wouldn't have died.
Yeah, it's like in Driving Miss Hazy, worst case scenario, Lenny actually dies. And in the season four episode, worst case scenario, Laurie just has to find another university. Like again, like you have all these areas where it's like, yeah, the writing, the story structure, all that alongside the animation has improved.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like even Coupe Dreams, like that's a really tightly
Dream.
structured episode. You have great slapstick moments, good gags, good writing. Speaking of good writing, Mr. Grouse's car, we see it like we kind of like see it a little bit at the near beginning, and then it becomes important in the end.
Yeah, I love that.
I haven't
You should,
watched Coop Dreams in my opinion, to be honest.
oh man, you need to watch it. It's so good.
It's really good. And it's a
Uh,
great like ending for season 4.
And
Yeah.
funnily enough, actually, one last thing I'll say before we wrap up. Um, like like I hate to mention Chris Savino again, but like
Oh.
he said his version of a last Loud episode would be Laurie going to college, and Coupe Dreams is basically that.
Oh yeah, I
Hmm.
didn't think about that.
Like it ends with Laurie driving into the sunset, essentially.
I see.
Yeah, it could have been a good ending for the show, but I'm so glad like it continued on and didn't just end there.
I'm so glad because season 5 is the season that made Loud House one of my favorite cartoons ever. It just got so much better from there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Loud House has really become peak Nickelodeon, and in one way, it can compete to SpongeBob.
It's funny, like Loud House is trying really hard to stay relevant. Like SpongeBob relies on over the top animations nowadays to its detriment. Loud House is just focusing on good storytelling to say, yes, we're still entertaining kids enough so that they still want to watch us.
yeah, it definitely deserves more
Yeah.
recognition for that.
It
Yeah,
like
Nickelodeon needs.
I am annoyed that Loud House has not like destroyed SpongeBob, even though admittedly that probably would have had the consequence of Loud House drying up eventually.
I mean, its spin-off
Yeah,
was. I mean, the spin-off got robbed of last year's, KCA.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Something like that. Casagrande's only got 3 seasons. I mean, 3 seasons is good, but it's a bit unfortunate.
Three
And Loud
seasons at 60 episodes.
Yeah, and Lava still keeps going on, and it keeps slightly improving in the writing and animation. Even though I would say 7 was a slightly weaker experience than 5 and 6.
yeah, it wasn't as good as 5 and 6, but
It was still very good. Season 3 good, but not one of my favorites. It has some of my favorite episodes, but as always, it's not my favorite. I mean,
like the first half I enjoyed more than the second half, to be honest,
that
of
makes
season
sense.
7.
I know it's something different, but in the Loud House universe, if you watch the episode of the Really Loud House about Lori in college, in this in the second season of the Really Loud House, they say that Lori actually dropped out of college to start a life, while in the sh- in the animated series, Lori had this skip for a year, going for a gap year to stay with family.
Okay, that's interesting. It's almost like they're two different universes.
Yeah, that's what I think. I
Yeah,
think they're two separate universes because
Okay,
there's
yeah,
like
so
a lot of
and that's what I thought
inconsistencies.
entirely.
Uh, okay, so
So
we're gonna have to wrap it up. It's 50 minutes
If
in
I'm gonna
now.
wrap it up,
So
yeah,
uh,
I'm gonna wrap it
it's
up.
great. It's great having you, Gilbert and Alana, for this conversation.
yeah, it's been fun.
Laurie Loud
Yeah, it's
started
been
off flawed,
wild.
started off unlikable, but gradually became one of the best characters in the program. I think she has become one of my favorites as of late.
Yeah, she's definitely my
Yeah,
favorite.
Just a very well written, fun character with a lot of
Lori
dimension.
Lou. and and shout out to our good voice actress Catherine Tabor for voicing Lori.
Oh yeah, Catherine Tabor, like who's in Robot Chicken sometimes. That's great. But
Yeah,
but yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time.